Hello, my friends, and welcome back. It is still Monday, December 4th, 2023. I'm the Drunk Pokeroo. 'Tis Beer Advent Day 4. It is. It's a lovely day. We're starting to hit our stride now. You get those first couple days in, get back to, hanging out by the tree, watching Christmas specials after you pour a beer. It's a beautiful time of the year, and again, like we keep saying, it's a great way to let the beer make the day fantastic and also helps clean out that cellar a little bit. I noticed some other people doing it. It makes me happy to see people getting their cellars. Get into those beers, have a good time. Let's see what Mr. Snowman Man has for us tonight. It's a big bottle, and there's only a couple of these bottles in there, so I can sort of see it was a green bottle. A green bottle, yes. This is, I know this one. This is the 2021 Merit Wild Years. It's a Brett Saison, I believe, with nectarines. And I think nectarines is something else, too. I can't really read. The printing is so small in these things. This spoke nicely. She even takes off some of the wax there so I can open up the bottles. So this has been sitting in the cellar for 2.5 years. I think we better have the glass ready to go as fast as possible because sometimes these kind of bready beers can give you a little gusher if you're not careful. And I have jiggled it a little bit, so maybe not the best thing. That's okay. There you go. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. That's not too bad. Sometimes you get a gusher. Have you ever opened up some of those Belgian beers and they just gush out the top and you lose like a quarter of the beer right off the top? That's no fun. I can smell that from here. That's funky. That's funky. I am a fan of Merit. Unabashed. I absolutely love going to Merit. I don't go a lot of places anymore. I kind of stopped participating, I guess you would call it. There's very few places I go because I don't know. I feel, I don't know. It's a thing I'm working on. But Merit is one of those places where I walk in and I feel at home. I feel like I am part of something there, maybe. And I guess it's been Tej and Spinny and everybody that works there just has always been so cool. And like Spinny and I have this weird friendship where we would do more things if I would just do things. And that's my problem. I need to do things and hang out and do things. But let's get into this beer. Cheers. Happy Christmas. Happy Christmas. So we always talk about this. Whenever you start getting into Brett beers and funky, that kind of, any kind of wild fermentation or anything like that, they can have a tendency to overwhelm the senses. And maybe this was back in the earlier days, when I was new and I didn't understand beer, and a lot of the brewers that were doing them didn't. This is beautiful. This is leaned hard into the nectarine. It does have a bright acidity to it, but it is not as tart as it probably was early on. It has certainly, the funk has leveled out into a beautifully balanced and yet complex farmhouse honey. There is that kind of hay sense, barnyard funk. There's some wine notes in there. I think it aged in wine barrels too. I'm not 100% sure. I have to look it up afterwards before I write about it, but again, I don't know what's coming, so I just kind of have to go with what I can remember. It's beautiful. That nectarine is kind of morphed into like this just kind of citrusy pithiness. It's quite bubbly and effervescent. It is a lovely, mellow Brett beer Saison. A little bit spicy on the back. That's going to be a contemplator tonight because I think as this warms up, it's going to change what I'm getting out of each sip. I think that's definitely something that's going to happen. I love these beers because they allow me to explore another side of sort of the barrel age, or of aging beers in your cellar, of leaving these kind of, wild Brett Saisons. A couple of years sitting in that, cold, dark cellar. What happens? Like, what goes on? It's like life, man. I've been reflecting a lot this week, and I continue probably to do it for a little bit and look forward to, but reflecting on, the past and how I was. And I miss that guy to an extent because he was a lot of fun. But sometimes I also like having my very chill, very, very level-headed, very calm life now. I do miss having people to hang out with. That is one thing I will say. Not having any people close to me is that's a difficult thing sometimes, right? But I kind of like where I am now. I just wish I could find a balance between the two, and maybe that was what I'm after now. Maybe that's the next chapter. Who knows, man? It seems to change every 10 years. Something changes. So here we are at that cusp. What are we going into, right? I'm going to enjoy this beer. Thanks to my friends at Merit for making great stuff and having, leaps of faith to make giant green bottles of weird shit, right? That just makes you go, right? It is, man. I love it. I love it. I like it. I like it. It's different, and it's not just a bourbon barrel aged something, right? It's something a little more complex, a little more nuanced, a little more fun. All right. Cheers. Poke loves you. Keep the Christmas vibes going, man. We're just catching our stride. We're just catching our elfin stride, right? Cheers. Think of those wild years, man. Some good goddamn times. Thank God we did not have social media. Holy moly.